to the Tea and a Butty podcast. I'm Dominic.
And I'm Erica.
And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about things that make us posh.
Things that make who posh?
Well, us. Because we're very posh, aren't we? No, I mean, what makes poshness a thing?
Yes.
What makes someone posh?
That was my
We're going to be getting to the bottom of this.
That was my big question. What exactly is the definition?
What are the qualifications?
Yes, qualifications.
For being posh.
Yeah.
And we don't know, so goodbye. No, it's one of these things there's like, I mean, I don't know how it's defined over here, really.
Well, no, that was my...
Because, I mean, you wouldn't really think, that guy's really posh, isn't he?
No.
You never have that.
No.
Yeah, it's something to do with the class system in Britain. It's definitely a class thing.
So here was my question then.
Yeah.
Would anyone in America qualify as being posh?
I don't know.
Who would you consider, or would you consider anyone in America as being posh? And if not, then then why, you know?
Because poshness in Britain, it's defined in several different ways.
Because sometimes it's just based on the accent alone,
It's based on the accent alone. If you come in and you're like, hello, I'm James St. John Smythe from Oxford, and I've come to say hello to you today, and
yeah.
Like, oh, that guy's really posh because of his accent, you know.
Because
hello, my name's Robert, and
because we have a family friend, don't we, that has sort of that accent, and I don't think I would consider him posh, but he definitely could play the part.
Posh.
Yes.
Hello, I'm a very important man.
Oh, I just love listening to him talk
because he's got a accent that's very posh and it's very
you know.
It's
just like yeah.
And I mean there you go. You know, like if you're like, it's like, oh, that's that posh sounding.
But he's
bloke.
like super liberal and like, you know, I don't know. Would you consider him
he's been
working class?
He's pretty. Yeah, I mean working class. Yeah, I mean definitely. I think he would identify himself as that.
But he's from Oxford.
He's from Oxford.
So he's got that accent.
He's not from Oxford itself. He's from Oxfordshire.
Oxfordshire, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's actually from Oxford itself, but
Oxford Town.
But really, you know, it's like you have that sort of accent in Britain and you're posh. Whereas over here, it's like people wouldn't really consider him posh, would they? They just consider him British.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's like, oh, this is a stuffy old British man.
I mean, I think it would depend.
There.
I think
where's my cup of tea?
I think it might depend on how familiar the American is with the British accents
and the class system and
the fact,
and poshness itself.
The fact that there is more than one accent, and you know, yeah, I guess the class system, yeah, because they would have to associate an accent with a certain class, I suppose. But okay, so then by those standards, no one in America is posh then, because no one over here speaks like that, you know.
I mean, you'd have to have a sort of like weird kind of, I mean, it just doesn't exist over here. It's a class system thing.
So what would you call then someone like in America, in the, let's say the deep South, so like Georgia, right? And their family were original colonists.
Yeah.
Or original settlers, whatever, you know, because I don't know, Georgia, was it a colony? You know, posh. South Carolina, North Carolina, whatever, Virginia. Let's say Virginia then.
Virginia colony.
You know, their family goes back as old as America, right?
Yeah.
So does their money. They live in a big grand house. But they have that kind of... A
grand ranch-style house.
But they have that kind of deep South accent like this. And they have they have more money than God. You know, nobody in America has as much money as them.
No.
But you wouldn't consider them posh, would you?
No.
You would probably consider them... Would you consider them... I mean, would posh people... What would posh people consider them?
They just have a lot of money. New money.
It would be new money to them,
right?
Right?
New money, yes.
Just for the fact that they're American?
Maybe, yeah.
I love how you're like all squinted and doing this character. New money.
New money. Yes. Don't agree with that at all. Don't agree with it.
So
at all. They made really, money on the backs of people, and
that's really interesting because I think that people in, like a hippie in, California or, Colorado or somewhere, Washington, I don't know what they would consider that person in Virginia with the big house and the old money. I don't know. It wouldn't be posh because we don't really use that word.
Rich.
Just rich, just old money.
Rich old money, I guess.
You would just say old money. Oh, they're old money, I guess.
Yeah, I mean...
I don't know. Upper class? I don't know what we...
Upper classes,
I don't know what we
yeah.
call
I mean,
them.
it's mainly to do with that. That's like if you're a toff.
I mean, the thing is the class system obviously does exist in America, but it's just not acknowledged.
Acknowledged at all, really, Because there's some people who go, oh, Britain doesn't have a class system anymore. I don't know what you're talking about. And it's just like, it clearly does.
Yeah.
It's usually people who are privately educated and come from money.
Yeah.
Daddy buys them things, and mommy buys them things, and
they're sent to boarding school.
They're sent to privately educated. They're privately educated at Eton or Harrow or whatever.
Yeah.
And they've got they just have money, and they don't know they just take money for granted. They've never had to earn it.
Yeah.
Is another, which is what they lump the royals in as, they're born privileged and never had to worry about a thing because, they can get away with what they want,
Yeah.
And I mean, that's like upper classes,
Mm-hmm.
And they play rugby and all this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, and they talk like that, they talk in like a very posh accent.
Yeah.
It's, might not be, might not be, like the Queen speaks,
Yeah.
Hemel Hempstead and all that kind of stuff, Oxfordshire.
Yeah.
But, it's still posh enough that it's not like
Posh,
a common, like, hello, mate, how's it going,
Posh here, the way you're describing it, basically just means...
money.
No, means educated. Right? Because
educated at Harvard, or
they pronounce everything correctly. Correctly in quotation marks.
Correctly.
They pronounce things the way it's supposed to be pronounced according to the dictionary.
According to the dictionary.
Right.
Which has advised me to pronounce this way. Yes.
So you found a funny article. I
found a funny article. 22 signs that you're posh from theenglishpaper.com. And number one is, the correct pronunciation of every single word in the English language.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
And that's, oh yes, oh no, don't say it like that. Yeah. You say Kenya instead of Kenya,
Yeah.
So you're going to Kenya.
But is that correct? I mean, if you look
it's not correct. It's just an inflection of the posh people.
Right.
Those posh upper class people.
Because I think sometimes the way they pronounce things is not necessarily the correct way.
Oh, yes. We're holidaying in Kenya and we want to go to shoot some elephants today.
Oh,
gosh. Oh, it's a jolly old fun day.
Don't talk to me about shooting elephants. Get out.
We don't do that anymore. We're not allowed to.
Oh.
Yes.
But yeah, okay. So
and
that's
usually,
what we were
and
just
they're usually wearing a pair of red trousers.
What does that mean? That's number two.
Number two, you own a pair of red trousers and wear them without irony or sobriety.
What?
Yeah. I mean, that's usually big red trousers and they walk around in the red trousers. It's like, what? Who wears red trousers? Oh, they must be posh.
I have a pair of red pants.
You do?
Me.
So you're posh.
I have a pair of red... I quite like a pair of red pants. Yes, what does that have to do with anything?
It's a pair of... It's like a red, trousers that look like the red coat material. It's like woolen. They're mainly like woolen trousers or something, you know.
Okay.
And they walk around like a, you know, and they look like a little dandy, you know.
What? That's really random.
Number 3 is you own a house in the country that was built by an ancestor who has his own Wikipedia page, not written by you.
Oh, that's funny.
So it's like, oh, my ancestor was the Duke of Gloucester, you know, Duke of Northumberland.
That kind of applies to my Virginia scenario,
yes.
though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, so...
It's like, this was built in the 13th century by the Duke of Gloucester.
It wouldn't go back that far in Virginia. By the Duke of Gloucester, yeah.
Number 4 is you were privately educated. This one is non-negotiable. Yeah, I mean, if you were privately educated, you're posh. It doesn't matter if you speak like that, but usually if you're privately educated, you speak like your friends. And you're like, hello, how are you? You know, hello, you know, you just... talking like a posho.
Yeah, a posho.
It's a posho! So
how many, you mentioned before Eton and Harrow. Those are just the biggest ones.
Those are the biggest ones, you know, like, and it's funny because, you know, people think of Oxford and Cambridge being the only universities in Britain.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, yeah, they're all two of the, you know, both of them.
Those are just like your Ivy League universities.
Yes,
right?
those are the ones that, you know.
Do they call them Ivy League in Britain?
No. It's just like, you know.
I don't even know why they're called Ivy League over here, actually.
Ivy League.
It's just upper class. It's just posh.
Ivy League, there you go. Yeah, that's your name for posh people. It's like, oh, Ivy League, preppy.
Ivy League. Yeah.
Ivy League and preppy, you know, they got money, so they...
I guess so. Ivy League, yeah, that's...
Yeah, that's your posho.
Yeah, that's true.
Your toffee-nosed people.
And again, that has to do with education, doesn't it? More so than money, even.
Privately educated.
Usually if you can afford
I
went
to
be
grammar
educated...
school, and then I went to Eton.
Yeah.
Then I went to Oxford. And
usually if you can afford to be educated at an Ivy League school, though, you do have money, so... Yeah. Not always, but...
Number 5 is the shipping forecast is a powerful aphrodisiac. You know the shipping forecast?
Yeah, we did a whole podcast on that.
Yes. It usually comes on Radio 4.
Why is that an aphrodisiac?
Because they like listening to it, you know, yeah.
Because they're educated and they're nerdy. I was going to say something, but I won't.
Number 6, you never wear clothing with visible labels unless it's from Tesco. What? This is recent posh people.
What?
When I read through this list, I was like, yeah, this is recent posh people.
Unless it's from Tesco.
So, oh, I got this from Tesco.
Just to show how non-posh, how
I'm ordinary.
Down with the people
I'm down with the people. I'm buying things from Tesco. Because I know Tesco,
Does Tesco actually, put their... do they sell sweatshirts that say Tesco across the front?
Well, visible labels, I think, meaning, label inside, I guess. Or maybe, yeah. I don't know. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, really. And number 7, you advertise the fact that you like rugby and cricket.
Oh, God, yeah.
Let's go into the rugby. And, oh, yes, did you see the cricket? There's a test match on.
There's somebody we follow on Instagram.
Who loves cricket.
No, he just posted today, oh, yes, finally, it's cricket season.
It's cricket season. Oh, yes, cricket.
And then he goes, and for those of you wondering, I got a duck. Whatever that means.
It's posh language. It's code. It's code to other posh people.
It's going to be something having to do with cricket, I guess.
Yes, I got a duck.
I got a duck. For those of you wondering, I got a duck.
Yes, and they do that laugh after it. Ha 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 ha. Yes, because it's a ha 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 ha. Ha ha ha.
What does it just remind me of?
Because it's an evil laugh, isn't it? It's an evil posh laugh. It's just like, bugger off, you posho. Get out of my house with your duck.
Who does that remind me of? Something in something
we've watched something.
Yes. Oh, all right.
Probably the Windsors. Because, they're the archetypal posh people, that they're playing them down as posh.
No, it's, is it Blackadder?
Maybe.
Hugh Laurie?
Yeah.
Oh, Blackadder. you know,
yes,
and he's
what
like,
a Blackadder.
and then Queenie's just like laughing or something.
Yes.
I don't know what
It's
I'm thinking
something.
of, but yeah.
So I got a duck. Ha ha ha. Did he really do that?
No.
It's like, oh god. Ha ha ha.
I got a duck.
Number 8, though, is, but you know nothing about football. And the thing is, Harry Kane, isn't he a cardiologist on Harley Street? You know, they know nothing about football because it's common, and that's for the working class.
Did we ever tell them about that, the football movie that we watched? Wasn't it a movie or was it a series?
Oh, The English Game?
Yeah.
Julian Fellows wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we did. I think we talked about it. About the origins of football.
Yeah, you guys should definitely check that out.
How it became like a sport that was played by the working class.
Yeah, because it didn't start off that way.
It didn't start off that way.
Yeah.
No, and I kind of knew that it started off as like a game for the posh people. But then, you know, it got adopted by the working class and they just was like, oh no, golf is our thing now. Cricket's our thing now.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like cricket's such a boring game.
Because I think rugby used to be, too, the ruggers, right?
Well, rugby kind of still is, but it's like, yeah, now it's gone the same way as football. And by football, we mean soccer, if you're confused.
Yeah, even if you guys are not
European
fans of
football.
soccer or soccer/football, you should check that show out, though. It was a show, wasn't it? It was a mini-series, right?
Yeah, it was a mini-series,
The English Game?
The English Game, yeah.
Yeah, you should check that out. It's a really interesting story.
Yes. Number 9 is you bank with Handelsbanken. It used to be Coates, or Coots, I think it is, but that's now for vulgar footballers and their wags.
What?
An upper class bank. You know, it's like
Yeah.
handles like people who've got money, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, I've heard of like Coutts, I think it is, Coutts. They're like, they handle all the rich celebrities' money and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
But Handelsbanken now, you know, that's the new,
Yeah.
you know, that's where I put my money in, you know?
Again, I've heard a different Instagrammer complaining about the bank that you always hear about in England.
There's a few.
What?
Lloyd's Bank,
No.
TSB,
No. Oh.
Santander,
Okay, never mind.
HSBC.
Yes.
HSBC.
I think it was HSBC, yeah. Just complaining what
Halifax.
Well,
that's not really. Well, yeah, I guess it is a bank because it's a building society.
Huh. I've never heard of Handel.
Handelsbanken. Yeah, it sounds like a German.
Yeah.
Probably Swiss, if I'm guessing.
Oh, yeah.
10. You own less than one television.
Oh, if you're posh.
If you're posh, you own less than one television. Oh, I don't own a television.
That, again, has to do
That's
with
common.
education.
That's common, people.
That has to do with education,
Don't
doesn't
own a
it?
television, no.
I mean...
Don't watch that thing. Nothing on
I
it.
wouldn't have a problem with only having one television.
No, they own less than one.
Oh, less than
They
one
don't own
television.
a television at all.
Okay.
I own less than one television. I don't own a TV.
I was mishearing
That's
that
for the working class. Television is something that was invented for the working class.
Yeah.
Number 11 is Radio 4, including that fantastically boring gardening show and the incomprehensible radio plays. I don't own a television. I listen to Radio 4.
Yeah.
I listen to Gardener's Question Time.
Yeah.
And The Archers and, you know.
Did we
all that
again
kind of
just
stuff.
have somebody
It's a very boring Radio 4.
saying that, they just, lockdown's gotten so bad that they've just started listening to The Archers.
Yes.
And it's like a soap opera, isn't it?
Yes,
I think you've told me about that before. It's been going for a long time.
It's been going for years. It's a soap opera on the radio.
Yeah.
And Radio 4 is where, like, everyone, you know, it's kind of like become like this ethereal, magical place. It's kind of like, you know, when you pass through platform 9 3/4, it kind of like takes you to this magical olden day place of England.
What,
know?
Radio 4?
Radio 4, yes.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a joke like from one of the sitcoms we used to watch. It's like, I think I'm just going to go live somewhere on Radio 4, you know? Because it's all like, the gardening and and Archers, and people listen to it. Yeah, we'll have to listen to Radio 4.
Yeah, because we used to
very old-timey.
Yeah, exactly, because we used to have that also. I mean, there was just an episode of Andy Griffith Show on not that long ago where Aunt B is like obsessed with whatever the soap opera is that she's listening to. Yeah. And she's like, and the show ends, she's like, oh no, you shouldn't take it, you know. And then Andy comes in, he's just like, oh, what's she getting up to now or whatever, you know. But yeah, that doesn't exist over here anymore.
No? I mean, radio doesn't really exist like that anymore, I'm sure.
Well, like that, no.
It does in Britain. You know,
just on Radio 4, though?
No, I mean, yes. Yes, I guess you would say yes, because all the other channels like Radio 2 and all that, they're for like our age and a little bit younger.
I mean, I guess they do.
They try to like keep it up with like, you know.
I mean, I guess they do that kind of thing on NPR
contemporary.
Sometimes.
Maybe,
They do like a show on NPR.
Yeah, you know? NPR, again.
They do little like game show things on NPR.
Yeah, and Radio 4 do it too, you know.
Yeah.
I think Gardener's Question Time is a thing, you know.
Yeah.
Number 12 is the 3 most beautiful words in the English language: Fortnum and Mason. And that was where the Scotch egg was invented.
It's basically like Harrods.
A working class treat that was invented by a upper class thing. For the upper class to have a snack on their carriage rides.
Yeah.
You know, wherever they were going, it was like, oh yes, we invented this thing that you can wrap in a thing and you can eat it on the way, you know.
It'd be fine, yeah.
And now it's like, oh, that's a very common thing to do. Give it to the working class.
It's very common to just pull a Scotch egg out and eat it. Just pull it
Who
out
are you, sir? Who are you? How dare you, sir? How dare you?
And then you slap him with your glove.
And you slap him with your glove. Yes, get here, have the glove and slap him with it. Get my servant to slap you with my glove. You just wait there, sir. Number 13. This is the classic one. Number 13, you own a muddy old Range Rover whose interior is covered in dog hair that goes all the way back to the dog that died in 1972, the same year you inherited the car. I mean, this has got the royal family, and we were just talking about this in the previous one, you know, his Land Rover hearse.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know?
Mm-hmm.
The Queen, likes to drive her Land Rover over the estates and stuff like that, and, you know, they're dressed up in, like, tweed and... You know, they look like farmers, yeah, with the cap and everything like that, you know, and it's an old Range Rover.
Yeah.
They're driving, and it's
so they say,
been in the family for generations, you know.
They say the ultimate most posh people act more like the most common people. They're the ones that are always covered in mud and muddy rain boots and like, you know, always have dog hair all over them. And...
Yes. Number 14 is you never speak of money unless it's to complain how little you have. It's like, oh, we don't possibly have the money to do up the castle at the moment. You know, it's falling down. It's a state of disrepair. We just don't have the money to do this anymore.
To be fair, it costs a lot of money to keep up a castle.
It costs a lot of money to keep up a castle, and we just simply don't have the funds. You know? So now, stay there while I go and get my servant to slap you with his glove. For even suggesting that we might have money. Number 15, you own a jumper that's older than your wife.
What is that?
It's a jumper that's been in your family for generations.
They just don't like to get rid of things, I guess.
And it's all tatty and it's all like, you know, old and stuff, and they go in their Range Rover and they drive around their estate, and it's like, we don't possibly have the money to upkeep this.
And they look like in their holy jumper and their freaking muddy car.
We don't possibly have the money. And I'm a lord. And I own, you know, this is my estate.
Yeah.
My 2,000-acre estate that I'm driving along in my muddy old Range Rover. Number 16. And I've never read the Daily Mail.
The Daily Mail is...
I've never
gossip?
read the... Yeah, it's the gossip. Okay. It's the gossip. It's the rag.
I can never remember which ones are the gossip rags. And which ones are the actual newspapers.
They're the ones you always see online now, because they've got the Mail online now. And it's just basically whatever crap they can think up of. Think up to make up, you know? It's like, oh, man doesn't have money to do up his castle, driving around in his... Lord Carnarvon is distraught, you know.
Yeah. Lord Carnarvon's the one who owns Highclere Castle,
and
right?
and yes,
aka Downton Abbey.
Downton Abbey, but I mean, they've got the money now from the tourism from that. But I mean, how long's that going to last now? Because I mean, Downton Abbey's been off the air for a few years now. So yeah, they've got to think of another place to, you know, they've got to think of another movie to or series set there. And this is another number 17. You own a pair of wellies that are so permanently in mud, it's no longer possible to discern their original colour, green. Yes, they're walking around in their muddy, yes, and they're driving around in their, you know, it's like, this is what, you know, they're a posh person.
Yeah.
And they're just like, oh, don't have the money to do this. And they're always like, oh, where's my dog? Where's Pippa? Where's Pippa? Oh, there's my dog. Yes, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, it's got the flat caps on. And they're just like, oh, you know, they just look like an eccentric. Yeah, they do at the end of every sentence. I don't have the money to do up the castle. And they, you know.
Oh God.
And number 18 is you know to pronounce the surname St. John as St. John. St. John Smythe.
Yeah, what is that all about?
St. John, my dear.
Why is
it's like, oh, hello, Mr. St. John. St. John Smythe? St. John Smythe, my dear. I don't possibly have the money to slap you with my gloves, so I'll get my servant to do it for you. And, yeah, you know, St. John, you know, it's just another one of those. St. John Smythe. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a, you know...
It's another one of those mispronunciations.
Yes, but they all insist on being called St. John, you know. What about St. John? Is he coming? You know. Number 19. Gin and tonic? Gin and tonic? Lovely. 3 gin and tonics. Gin and tonic? Gin and tonic?
Yeah, what is
gin
that
and tonic.
all about?
Because, gin and tonic. You know, everybody drinks gin and tonic now.
Yeah.
They get it in a can from Marks and Spencer.
Is that actually, like, the Queen's favorite drink, though?
It was the Queen. I think the Queen Mother. They used to say the Queen Mother liked to drink
because on Twitter, sherry. the fake Queen Elizabeth account is always like it's gin o'clock.
It's gin o'clock. Yeah, I think she likes gin.
Yeah, what makes gin like the posh drink?
Because she drinks it.
Because she drinks it, I guess.
So it's like they all do as the Queen does. Oh, yes, Her Majesty drinks gin, so we drink gin. Gin and tonic, yes. She likes a gin and tonic at 5 o'clock, you know, and so we like a gin and tonic at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Number 20, you shop at Oxfam charity shops, which, because we simply don't have the money to do up the castle. We don't have the money to buy clothes, so we go to Oxfam and we do our bit. Give our money to charity that way, you know. We buy all these old tatty clothes that, you know, used to belong to our ancestors.
That's very trendy, though.
It's trendy now.
Shopping at charity shops.
It's trendy now, so they probably won't do it anymore. Number 21. You spend more on Lily's kitchen dog food than you do on your own food. Which I guess is like a high brand dog food.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yes, you must have the best.
You know, at the grocery store the other day.
Tricky Woo must have the best food available.
Did you see the refrigerator that was like dog food? It was like in the refrigerator.
In the refrigerator.
It had its own refrigerator. I think it was just one brand, but
it's like $12.99 for one can.
Something, yeah. Yes.
It's like, oh, Tricky Woo, only the best. Only the best for Tricky Woo and from All Creatures Great and Small. And the last one, number 22, you didn't click on this article. 22 signs that you're posh. You didn't click on this article. I couldn't possibly click on that article because it's got nothing to... I'm posh. So I know I'm posh. I know all about this. Yeah, I mean, that's it. 22 signs you're posh. Well, I mean, really... The poshness comes from all that, but it also kind of heavily. I mean, for me, it's like, oh, he sounds a bit posh, that guy. Yeah, you know, and it's like he might not be posh. He might drive, you know, a Vauxhall a clapped out old Vauxhall and have no money at all, and, you know, be educated at, you know, a comprehensive school or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But he just sounds like that because
he just like
carries himself very well, you know, like Hyacinth Bouquet from Keeping Up Appearances. She was always trying to be posh. She was always trying to like think, but her sister was like, she married this guy called Richard Bucket, and it was spelt bucket, you know, but she was like, Bouquet, you know, it's Bouquet.
Yeah.
And oh yes, and I'm, you know, I'm very aspirations of upper middle class, I think it was, or upper class.
Yeah.
Even.
I think sometime we maybe need to talk about, though, that the stigma with coming across as posh.
Because if you come across as posh,
you're a posh.
Yes, so people instantly write you off as, oh god, here we go.
Yeah.
They know nothing, these poshos.
When
they
really
live in the world of their own, you know.
When really you might be a really nice person, and you're just into your education. You know what I mean?
Just into your education.
And you know, you carry yourself in a certain way just because that's the way you want to be, and you're not trying to, you know, be pretentious or anything. That's just how you are, you know.
You can tell that's how they are, and you can tell I think in Britain you have a good nose for who's being pretentious and who isn't.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's why actual posh people go around in clapped out old Range Rovers and muddy boots and, you know,
shopping at charity
shops, because they don't want to come across as like the people who are pretending to be them.
Yeah.
You know, oh yes, my family might have been the Duke of Gloucester and, you know, had this, or Lord, or, you know, whatever, you know, of this manner. But, you know, I don't want to, like, look as if I'm, like, lording it over you lot. I want to be down with the people, you know.
But
like,
then that almost comes across as, like, yes. It's like, oh, you're
wanting a pint with the boys.
Yeah.
That kind of thing, yeah.
It comes across then a little bit like, yeah.
You're trying to be one of us, but you're not.
Yeah.
You know.
Makes it even more clear that you're not then,
because,
you know.
You know, it's like you like to hang out with your common friends, but when it, you know, it's like, oh no, it's the Queen's Garden party this afternoon and I have to go there, you know, and it's Uncle Pongo's polo match.
Uncle Pongo.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I think we're out of time.
I think we are out of time.
I think we covered that topic very sufficiently.
Very sufficiently, indeed. Ha ha ha!
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this episode.
Yes.
We appreciate your support as always.
Yes.
And be sure to follow us on social media. We are at TButty, TEABUTTY on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And we will talk to you next time.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Cheerio.